ICF firewall service. This is one of the last sessions on Cisco Intercloud Fabric version 2.21a. Prior to this session, we have covered deploying a ICF infrastructure, then the cloud link to Amazon and Azure, then deploying VM in both cloud, moving the VM back and forth from the private to public, public to private. And the last session we covered CSR, vCSR, which is kind of routing in the cloud. And this one would cover the firewall, which is actually basically using the VSG for making sure the firewall service is provided inside the cloud. Now, as we have done a lot of things in previous sessions, so let's just kind of catch up where we are. So this is the setup in my lab, which is on the left side, Enterprise Data Center. We have ESX host. As a matter of fact, there's only one host. And then we deployed ICF host VM, which is 172.17.17.50. And on top of that, there is ICFD, which is the director, where we'll log in and do all your configuration, most of the configuration. Then PNAC, Prime Network Services Controller .52, which does a lot of the hard work, for the automation. One of them we'll be deploying the VSG. We deployed the CSR also through PNAC. Then we have your CVSM, which is the Nexus 1000V, which kind of take care of the networking, all the networking task for the ICF. And to kind of establish the link between the cloud, we have ICX, Intercloud Extender, which is .59. In this case, the one which is connected to the Amazon. And on the Amazon side, this is ICS Intercloud Switch, which is .60. So this is the basic infrastructure setup plus the cloud. Now we have deployed a VM. There's two VLAN. This kind of VLAN 10 and 11. We just made it up. There is no real routing available inside the data center. So we kind of deployed a vCSR, which does the routing between the VLANs, VLAN 10 to 11. So that's there. Now we had also another VM. Then now we're going to deploy the VSG, which will do the firewall service in this session. And as there is no inter-VLAN routing from the management VLAN to the 10 or 11, we have a VM inside your data center, which is .50 your web 58 with IP address 10.10 on VLAN 10. So that was deployed in the AWS and then moved back to the data center. Now we are going to log into that VM 58, and then from there we'll RDP to the web VM 95 in the cloud. And from there we'll do the testing. Testing means ICMP and RDP. There is two protocol we'll test. One, first of all, we'll try to ping from 95, web 95 to app 96, and then we'll RDP into 96, and from there we'll ping back and RDP back. So that will work, and then we're going to put a VSG rule just to demonstrate it works, the functionality. The full-blown VSG deployment is pretty complex, and you can do your security professional the way you like, and it's very powerful. But to do the basic functionality, we just kind of block ICMP from web 95 to app 96, and we'll block RDP from app 96 to back to web 95. So how do you do that? First, we'll check the network connectivity, the one which I just said, log into the the VM inside the data center, and then RDP into the web inside the cloud, and do those testing which I just mentioned. That is ICMP and RDP, web and app should work. And then we check the VSM port profile config and a few commands there. Next, we're going to deploy the VSG in the PNSC. At this code, PNSC is deployed. The VSG is deployed through the PNSC. And the later code, probably they will integrate both together, PNSC and ICFD, so you don't have to go into the PNSC to do any work. And just to give you a heads up, PNSC is a lot more than VSG or CSR deployment. It can do a lot of automation tasks. So there are a lot of, clicking and buttons right now in its PNSC. But with later code, probably it will be simplified, and only the things that's required for ICFD will be important in the ICFD. So first thing is it kind of works on the concept of zone basis. So we'll make two zones. One is web and one is app. It's pretty much nothing but making a naming of that VM. That okay, if the naming has web, it's in web zone. If there's app, there'll be app zone, and I kind of name the VMs accordingly. So I created already all those zones just to kind of save time. Next one is the configure security profile. What is security profile? End of the day, it's kind of bunch of ACLs. So how does it work? So security profile can bind to one ACL policy set, and one ACL policy set can have multiple ACL policies. For this case, we'll just make one, and then it can have multiple ACL rules. And as I mentioned before, RDP and ICMP will block, and we'll make one web to app, ICMP drop, app to web, RDP drop, and then we'll permit rest any to any. And then we'll create a service path. What is service path? Service path is kind of binding between that security profile we just created to the service node. What is service node? Service node is the VSG that we deployed. So we pretty much binding this security profile to the VSG we deployed. Next is that service path we have created, we have to apply to a port profile. In this case, we'll just apply it on the web, and then it will get affected immediately. After that, we'll run few commands to test the connectivity. One of them is show vservice brief. That will show that your connectivity to the VSG is working and alive. And then we'll check the port profile also on the CVSM, and thereafter we'll test that what kind of effect we have for the VSG policies on the networking, that blocking that RDP and ICMP if that's working. And later we'll remove that and see that it should go back to normal. So that's the plan. Now let's jump into the configuration. Okay, now first of all, just let's familiarize with the setup here. So this is I've removed everything just to make it simple. There was the Azure one, we removed that link because deploying VSG in Azure and Amazon is exactly the same. So unlike CSR, Azure has IG, Integrated Gateway, and Amazon has CSR. So add this code, but maybe later Azure will also adopt CSR because that's more powerful and more configurable. So we have one link, that's test AWS 1 to the Amazon cloud, and you can see it's operational status, and we have kind of have cloud services VSG and CSR. Now let's look at the VMs. So so there's two VMs. One is 95 and 96, Web 95 and App 96. So this is 10.12 and 11.10. So that was I kind of shown in this diagram that App 96 and Web 95, 10.12 and 11.10. Next is inside the data center. We have one that is There's another one, probably we'll not use it for our test. 58, and that's 10.10, and that is in the diagram, this one. So now let's do the connectivity test. This is 58, the one inside the data center, and from here we will RDP into 10.12, which is in the AWS. So right now I'm trying to go from this 58 to 95, web 95. From there I'll do the ICMP test to the app and RDP. Okay, yep. Now we're going to ping the app server dot, I think it's 10, but let's check. Yeah, that's 10. So the ping works. What I'll do, I'll just probably constantly. Okay, so it's keep pinging. And now let's RDP into that box. .10. Okay, let me check my voice is recording. Yeah, okay. So now we are going to go from web to the app through RDP, and we'll keep that RDP open so that we can go there, but we'll block the ICMP through VSG. So we are into that app one. Now we'll ping back to web one, ping 10.12, I think. And let's RDP. As it's RDP into RDP into RDP, so I won't log into that server, but I'll see the prompt, and then I'll probably close it off. So that's 10.12. And after this, our next task will be in deploying the VSG. So you can see the prompt. If I say yes, I'll log into that one, but I won't do that because that's kind of may not sustain the connection. So that's, we are here. So let's log off. Okay. So I've done the testing. Also, let's check the CVSM. So this was, I was just testing the previous case. So show mod. This is the CVSM. You can see there's two mod, the ICS in the cloud side and ICX. So most of the now communication from the VSG will be through ICS. So there'll be link on the data VLAN that'll be connecting from ICS to ICA to VSG. That shows that there's no kind of VSG configured right now for this VSM. Once that's configured and active, we should see some information there. Now, sorry, there's another command. Let's say there's no kind of vService entry here. Once the vService is configured, VSG, then you should see the entry in the configuration, and every packet goes through this port profile, or the interface connected to this port profile will be validated against that vService. Okay, now I'm going to pause this session, and I'll go back to the PNSC and deploy that. Okay, now let's start deploying the VSG from the PNSC. This is my PNSC console, and there are a few tabs on the top. We'll be working mainly on resource management and the policy management. So as I mentioned before, that PNSC is way more than just VSG and CSR. It can manage a lot of other stuff for other products too. So I will just concentrate on managing VSG for now. So first, from this tab, Manage Resources tab on the Resource Management, we will deploy that. Give it a name. Host name. And we're going to instantiate in the cloud. And there is a template that's uploaded on the your AWS. That was done at the initial stage. So if we kind of look at this one, this is the AWS console. We during the creation of the link ICX and ICS, we can choose that we would like to deploy the VSG service. At that time, it uploads the image that we're going to use right now, and you can see we have got 96 and 95, the one we are talking about, the VMs, and then ICS and the CSR, and VSG will be added here. There is some previous deployment; those are terminated; those are not there right now. So okay, we've got only one link, which is to the AWS, and then we've got two interfaces to add. Now, what are those interfaces? One is a normal management one. So if we go back to this diagram, all those infrastructure VMs, like ICFD, PNSC, ICX, ICS, these are the VMs. They share a common management VLAN. That's VLAN 17 in this case, 172.17.17.x, and VSG will be just another one. So we're going to kind of give an IP address which is .65 for the VSG. That's management. We can log into the SSH into that and manage VSG through CLI. So though we don't have to do that much because most of the task is taken care by the PNSC. Second one is the data, which is probably very important. What it does, VSG has a data VLAN, data interface, and ICS has a data interface. So if you go into the ICS, let's go into the ICS and check actually. So this is the VSM. So that's module 5. So I'm connecting to the ICS from here. Okay, now show. Oops. So you can see that management is this is ICS management 60, and there is a service one which is on the same as VSG static pool 5.10, and VSG will have one IP address in this VLAN to communicate with the ICS and rest of the VM to implement its policies. So let's go back. And the port profile, like during the provisioning of service, then it asks for what VLAN this will be used to manage it. ICS as the VSG, so we gave the VLAN 17. So we have to look for that VSG management 17 port profile. This is on the CVSM, and the next one is data. So as I mentioned before, data is on VLAN 245. It's a VLAN you can use any VLAN actually, which is not routable. So I think if you go into the ICFD, this is the static pool we created, and that's, you can see this one is 192.168.5.x, and there's no gateway. So that is the data one. Let's give an IP from this one, and we can check also if what are the IP address already been used. Oops, not this one, global IP usage. Okay, 10 and 3 taken. 3 you actually previously would replace. We'll give something like maybe 1.5.1. And the port profile is important again, like we have to choose the data port profile, VSG data, and for that cloud test-AWS. That's it. So next, and it is going to deploy the VSG. Once it is deploying, we can do rest of the configuration, like creating the vZones and security profiles, those kind of stuff. Now vZones I have already created, like based on the prefix web and app. Pretty simple. It could be more complex, but for the demo I have made it pretty straightforward. And as I said, like you're going to use mainly resource management and the policy management tab. So this kind of policy would be here, like ICF cloud. This is the org, not in the root. And then on the policy helpers, and the last is vZones. So you can see the app one, which is pretty much based on VM name, contains a string, and I gave app, and the other one is same as web. You can see the web. And if you want to create a new, you just create add zone, give it a name, whatever, add zone conditions, and then select whatever I choose. So I gave something like VM name, and it kind of contains a string, and you can type the string there. So that's it. That's how we do the zone. So I have done the zone for app and web, because I have named the VMs like app, starting with app, and starting with web. Second stage is create a security profile. This is a bit complex, as I mentioned, like you kind of stitch. The bottom line is you make these ACL rules, and then you can stitch all the way up to the security profile. Now you create the compute security profile here in the service profile, then ICF cloud compute firewall, compute security profile. Give it a name. Maybe for this session I'll give demo underscore security profile. Maybe I'll give it a unique name 50. And then you have to attach to a policy set, ACL policy set, as I mentioned before, one ACL policy set. I could use a previously made one in my previous demo, or I'll make a new one and give it sorry, I meant to be underscore. It's pretty late here. Okay. Now you can have multiple policy to this one. You could use any one existing. You can just arrow mark and you bring it here, or you make a new one. Let's make a new one for this. And this is the actually main rule we're going to configure: web to app ICMP drop. And the source is web here, so vzone, and we have web, and destination is app. We're going to drop ICMP. Next one is RDP drop app to web. Sorry, I have to yeah, okay, that, and add the next rule, which is same thing. Sorry, that was my son. Okay, 3389, so that's meant to be dropped. Okay. The next is permit all, add rule. All permit. And if you don't give anything, it will just add any. That's all. You can see that. Done. So okay, come out of this one. Okay, once this is done, let's go back and check. I think the VSG should be already deployed here. Yeah, it's running and deployed, and we can go back into the cloud and see that we should see a kind of VSG. Let's refresh this one. This is the AWS console. Yeah, so you can see this one, that AWS VSG1 is deployed and running here on the AWS. Now let's go back to the configuration. We are up to creating this, this is the probably toughest part. Now the easiest one is creating a service path, which is connecting that service security profile we just created with the service node, which is the VSG. And for this, we'll do in the policy management, service policy, and the service path is right here. And we'll make sure we're in the ICF cloud. Add service path. Demo. And this is the connection between the service node, which is the VSG, and the security service profile. Service profile is this one we just created, and make a service node, which is and select your VSG here. In terms of failure, if it doesn't work, it will close everything, or you could keep it open for testing, but definitely the production, that should be closed. Okay, done. So pretty much the configuration is done. Now we have to apply that service path to the port profile. So if you remember, before doing that, we checked all those port profiles and show vService brief. There is nothing. Okay, show vService connection. There should not be anything. And show profile name web. There's no entry for vService here. Okay, now let's going to apply that onto that. So where we're going to do that is from resource management, and then port profile, web, edit, and you select that service path here, apply. Okay, as soon as you do that, there should be some changes here. So first of all, check the web profile, and you can that service path entry right here. This is added new, the one we just created, and that 50, just to make sure the one we created right now, and then show vService brief, and that should be state should be alive. If in case there is no connection between the VSG and ICS, it'll be unreachable or something, not alive. So it looks like our VSG is working. Now let's start test. Oh, it has already timed out. Let's see if it comes back, or maybe we'll have to start another session. Yeah, now it's not going to work. Okay, we are let's check it out where we are right now. We are on the console of the 58. You can see on the top left hand corner. Maybe it lost connectivity, yeah, due to the change. Yeah, the RDP probably. Okay, let's see what's this server. It's 58. So that's 10.10. 10.10 is this one inside the. Now you would RDP into the 10.12 and test from there. Okay, when it's doing it, let's check a few things. Show vService connection. You can see that there is a connection from 10.10 to 10.12, and that's permitted, so within the same one. So you'll see all these kind of connection that's going from the between the your VM. It'll be kind of, you'll have an entry here. The first packet that comes through, that goes to the VSG, check for this, its policies, and the next one, it doesn't go there anymore, so it's kind of routes through this VSM. Now so you'll see the same entry on the VSG. I won't go into that command. You can also run like show service path connection on the VSG, and you'll see the similar thing, but that'll be kind of very temporary. Once it kind of goes to the VSG, at that time it'll show that entry, and then it'll be removed later. So let's go back here. Yeah, so it's good. RDP, we're doing RDP into the web VM inside the cloud. And that is 95. And from there, as per policy, I should not be able to ICMP to the 96, which is 11.10. Okay, so just to make sure, this is 10.12, the web one, 10.12. Now try to ping 10.0.11. I think it's 10, right? Yeah, 10. It should not work. Yeah, it was working before once we tried, and there should be an entry here. Show vService connection to 11. This one, see? And it's dropped. Yeah, it is dropped, but the RDP should work, right? So that's what we configured. And that is 11.10, right? And let's check the and the next one would be, we block the this is kind of web to app. We tested that this is working. The next one is web to app. RDP should be dropped. So after we are going to the app, we'll try to RDP back. So RDP is working from the, that's now 11.10. Now ICMP ping. Yeah, it should work, but RDP should drop. .12, right? That one. Yeah, it should. And again, you can keep probably checking this one, that what connection is kind of allowed, what's not allowed here. The 3389, it's dropped. Oh, sorry, this one. Yeah, so it's not allowing. So that's kind of proof that your VSG policies we applied is working. Now let's take it out. How do you take it out from that? So that's probably conclude that the VSG, the rules we created, that's working. Now the way we take it out is edit, and then disassociate from that one, and then it'll probably go all the configurations we created. Yeah, it'll go show vService brief will go, and also the port profile configuration. Yeah, those are gone, and we should be able to ping as we could do before, same way. We should be able to RDP. We'll get the prompt. And once it is doing it, let's try to do this one. This should work now. Yeah, so that's working. So the ping is working, which we blocked, and the RDP should give us the prompt to connect. So you can see the prompt, so it's back up right now. Okay, and now these are a few troubleshooting commands that you can use. So you can go into the ICS, which is the module 5 in this case. You can connect by attaching the module and then run these commands. VSM, you can run the commands as vServices. You have seen those, vServices, and also you can ping the vService node. On the VSG, you can run the show vService path connection. It'll probably show the similar thing as a vService connection here. Only thing is kind of temporary thing on the VSG, because the first packet goes to the VSG. That's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, you can probably put a comments, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.